Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Model Gaming Show. My name's GWFawkes, and Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the good holiday cheer, Happy Kwanzaa. Um, it's the first show of the new year, and yeah, I'm excited. I've got my beard fully grown, uh, for the new year. Had a long vacation, thought a lot about what I wanted to do for this year, and I'm gonna do my best to mix it up and change it up as much as I can. This format will stay the same. I've moved everything so it's easier for me to do all this and less frustrating. And I want to just dig right in to something that you know that's important, but that I think it's important to do every year. The last show I did was my favorite games of this year, and we'll get these off for a bit while I'm talking to you. My favorite games of last year, and so I wanted to talk briefly about the most anticipated games this year. Just a couple of news items before I do that. First, the big video game news that I'm interested in talking about is NVIDIA releasing their big format game display. They're not going to actually release any televisions. They're just going to license the technology to Asus, Acer, all the computer companies, the big computer companies. But essentially, it's a 65-inch TV that's actually a monitor. So it's a computer monitor, very low latency, that will actually be ideal for working with computers, right? That's what you want. You want it to be a video game monitor. The only thing I'm worried about is that it's 65 inches on a desk. Like I have a 23-inch monitor, and that's plenty. 27 is pretty big to look at. My friend has a 40-inch TV for what he does, and that's like all-encompassing. 65 inches, I mean, from 3 feet away, right? Like, look at that, right? So it's like I'm really close to you guys right now. I'm probably only 2 feet from the camera here. Imagine having a 65-inch screen, right? That big, that encompasses like your whole face, like that. That can't be good for your eyes, considering natural television viewing is from 9 to 12 feet. That's the recommended like specs for space and in a room and whatnot. 9 to 12 feet. I had a projector as well, and 10 feet was like the minimum it should be away for a projector when it was like that big. And 65 inches at 3 feet is just going to be crazy. On a lesser note, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct Mini this week that they just dropped. Basically, I think they did that because people were pissed that they didn't do anything else. I frankly think that's it. But whatever, Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, right? So with that being said, nothing of note. I mean, yeah, Dark Souls remaster, and then Dark Souls actually getting each edition getting remastered in Japan is more influential than that. But the game that I want to talk about most that's finally coming to the Switch is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, since that was one of my favorite games on the Wii U. It's a game that not many people played, and that's really bad. The music's freaking incredible. The game design is really fun, even with the motion controls, which I hate motion controls. Just to get that out of the way, I really don't like most of them. Yeah, they were good on that, and it's just a really fun, lively game, really inventive. You should play it. If you haven't, definitely get it for the Switch. The main thing I want to talk about tonight in alphabetical order, okay? Coincidentally, the last game I'm going to talk about is actually my most anticipated and has been for since the first one came out. So it's a sequel. I'll give you that until I get to it. But just going alphabetically, games that are likely to release this year, there are some like Death Stranding, Shenmue 3 that I really don't think have any chance of releasing this year, even though they have a tentative 2018 release date. I think those are BS. So I tried to choose 6 realistic games, or it ended up being 6 realistic games that were coming out this year. The first I want to start off is Anthem. I'm not a huge multiplayer person anymore, as you've seen by any of my live streams or if you watch any of these shows. I don't really play those. I was even thinking of getting into Destiny 2, but for the raids, but I just find myself gravitating more towards single-player games, and on the PC there's just a plethora of things to choose from. So I choose to play those. Anthem is made by one of my favorite studios, BioWare. BioWare made two of my favorite game series, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and Mass Effect 1 through 3. I love sci-fi, and those are some of the best examples of that, and they made them. So, of course, I'm going to be excited. You can argue that they've had a dip in quality the last couple of releases, but this is the main studio. They've been working on this game for some time, and I'm interested solely because it looks cooperative. For me, there is nothing more fun than going online with friends and playing in a huge world, and that actually ties into the last game on this list as well. That's the most fun for me, is doing things cooperatively with people. It's you against the world, or you against another group, and for me, deathmatch doesn't have the same allure as it once used to. That doesn't help me, that just gets me frustrated more. It doesn't actually reduce stress anymore. So yeah, it looks beautiful. I have confidence in the team. Yes, EA is going to meddle. They can't not. It's going to be their biggest release of 2018 by far. They're trying to make it the new hotness, and I hope it pans out. I love sci-fi. The world looks incredible, and I'm glad that they are taking giving BioWare Maine the reins on this one. I hope it works out. Next game is an interesting pick for me, since I don't really talk about fighting games. It comes out soon too. I grew up watching the television series, and actually was growing up at a time when I was in high school as it was releasing on Toonami, in the US. So it's Dragon Ball FighterZ, and it very much like South Park, looks like you're playing the show. And I think that's the highest compliment. In fact, I would go so far as to say it looks way better than the show, because the animation is much more consistent. If you ever really watch Dragon Ball Z or anything like that, the animation's inconsistent because different animators were working on it, and so it's anything that's not the main character is so badly detailed and stuff like that. But nitpicks aside, I loved Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z growing up, and I don't really play that many fighting games. I think the last one that I really got into was Street Fighter 4 when I had a PlayStation 4, because that D-pad's awesome, and I'm not excellent. I'm good at fighting games, but nothing to write home about. Never got into the fighting game scene, but there's something great about playing a game that looks like you're playing a show. For me, that's so intoxicating. South Park, The Stick of Truth was one of my favorite games to release in the last few years because of that. I still have to play The Fractured But Whole, and I'm really looking forward to that once I catch up to it. But playing a game like this with other people, where it's the show come to life, and some of the superpowers and the cutscenes are just so audacious and ridiculous that it just looks like a lot of fun. And so I'm really looking forward to it, and they've got a ton of characters and fighters in it, and I can't wait to check it out. Next game, PlayStation exclusive. I have only owned one PlayStation console, PlayStation 3. Both of my two good friends growing up had a PlayStation 1 and then a PlayStation 2. So I got play a lot of games. I bought a PlayStation 3 for Metal Gear Solid 4, and of course I played a ton of other game series. So the game that I want to talk about this year is God of War. I bought a PlayStation 3 with God of War 3 in mind as well, and I had not played the first two or any other expansion or not expansion, PSP game or whatever. I think it was Ghost of Sparta, something like that. And so God of War 3 looked like something incredible, and it was, for me at least. The set pieces were humongous. I thought they were extremely inventive. The action is really fluid, and I actually went back and played the remasters when those came out for the PlayStation 3 of God of War and God of War 2. So I played all three up until now. This God of War looks like something different, and frankly looks like something special. It looks like a more intimate story. I love the Viking setting. I love the Thor axe. Didn't mean to make a insect body part joke. That was really weird. The axe that acts like Thor's hammer. And then yeah, I just think it looks like something different, and they're trying to make Kratos more relatable. At least you got like a little son, basically, or a kid figure that you're taking care of, and Kratos with a beard is something special. So I really like the series. It's a great action series. They don't overstay their welcome. You know, they're like 10 to 14 hour games, right in that range, 8 to 14 hour games. This one's supposed to be longer, and it looks like you're going to have a ton of things to do and see in this world, and it looks gorgeous. So really looking forward to that. Next game, not really in the public lexicon that much, but because of the remasters that have come out in recent years and the small but passionate community of it, I think it's growing. And with the showing that it had, I think at, what was it, E3, I think it caught a lot of public attention. So with that being said, I played them either late last year or early this year, can't remember, but Metro Exodus is my next game, and it looks incredible. It looks like they're really opening it up. I don't know if you're playing as Artyom again. I don't know how, if you are, or his son, or his wife, or whoever's left. There's a lot of questions. I also don't believe that what we saw was an actual gameplay demo. I think it's like a Killzone situation where it's gameplay off of a PC that is totally scripted and can't happen. So I don't know if it'll look that good on my rig. I hope it does, but I'm excited because the first two are these really good games that are atmospheric. They blend well with horror. It's about like being smart with your bullets and not just like, yeah, you can to a certain extent go in guns blazing, but I think it rewards you for playing smarter. Just really fun games with cool stories, and I really love the setting. I really love the atmosphere. That post-apocalyptic radiation, like underground, is really cool, and I just really enjoyed Metro 2033 and Last Light. I played both of them basically back to back, and they were really damn fun. Kind of a weird game, but one of my favorite experiences last year was an hour and a half tech demo of Project Octopath Traveler, and played about an hour and 45 minutes, played both characters, call it, an hour for each character, and there's supposed to be 8 characters, Octo Path, I guess, and I'm really looking forward to this game. I love the style. It's like an updated version of Chrono Trigger, that kind of feel. The combat is engaging. The characters were well written. I like the style that you can basically fight anybody. I really like that. To get past doors, you can interact with everybody, and it has unique writing. And what's funny is even as is, right? I don't know what the final game's going to be, but there's a lot of possibilities they can go with. I think one way they could go with is you're one character for a certain point in the story, and it takes you 3 hours, and then you switch to the next and finish that story. You know what I mean? Or you're one character and you run into other characters that you can play in the main story. However they end up doing it. If they just had all 8 available characters in that main mission, that would just call it a 6 to 8 hour game right there, and that would be really cool. But I think they're doing more. I think they're doing a lot more, and I hope they do. I hope this is a 25-hour game, a 40-hour game, where you can go back and playing as different characters actually means something, and it certainly seems like that's what they're going for, and that's what they're striving for, and the potential is what has me so excited for it. On top of how good it looks, and top of how fun it was to play, and how fair I felt and balanced it was to play. Never felt cheap, even in like that short time, and I got into a lot of battles that were random, right? But it never felt cheap. So finally, the game I've been anticipating essentially since I stopped playing the first one. There's 2 things genres that I really love, sci-fi and westerns. I don't know what it is about westerns that I like. It's just something that speaks to me, that I really like the period, I like the setting, and Red Dead Redemption is in my top 3 games that I've ever played. Probably along with Link to the Past, and then I'd really have to think hard about that, what that third game is. Those are not in any order, by the way. It's just I've got like a 3 that are all the same. But Red Dead Redemption, I don't even like Grand Theft Auto that much. I've played through Grand Theft Auto Vice City and 3, and really liked and just played 4 and 5 for the stories. I don't really do much else in those games, so I got like 30 to 40 hours out of those games. Speaking of the 4th, Ballad of Gay Tony was probably like the best Grand Theft Auto I've ever played, story-wise. But yeah, so there's nothing intrinsic I like about those big worlds and going into that, but for whatever reason, Red Dead Redemption just nailed everything perfectly for me. The story was great. The fucking music, man. Sorry for swearing. The friggin' music. It was just like pulled me in. I bought that soundtrack. It's like one of my favorite soundtracks. Some of the moments where transitioning between places where it's playing a song written for the game is friggin' incredible. It's just something that you don't get in many games now. You don't get that Western open world, really. I mean, and before that game came out, yeah, you had some, but they were basically crap. Even the first, what was it? Not Red Dead Redemption, but whatever they created. I can't even remember what it's called because it wasn't of note. I remember the box art though. I remember the box art, but I can't remember the name of the game. You had gun, but nothing special, and Red Dead Redemption changed all that. Lively characters, an immersive world, so much to do and see, and it really entertained me. And what really grabbed me was the online. And I want to talk a little bit about Grand Theft Auto Online in terms of this. One of the things that I love doing in Grand Theft Auto is going and just driving around with your different stations and just like cruising and going online and having that community from what I played with it. I would love nothing more than that to translate, where you get on a horse and you can change the music to different styles. I really hope they add that. I know that's so weird, but I really hope they have that. But the most fun I had was because me and a few friends, I think at one point we had 6 of my close friends all played as a posse together and went in throughout that world and did all the missions online and did everything. And then I had 2 very close friends where we played all the time together. And with how Grand Theft Auto is online is right now, it excites me to no end. I've seen what online is capable of in terms of the modding community and in terms of just the overall spectacle and how much there is in that game. I know it's something stupid and simple, but the fact that you can fly around in a DeLorean and a Batmobile and all these different crazy things is really cool. And the possibilities for me for the online space of what they're going to bring to Red Dead Redemption 2 is almost limitless. I know it's in a Western world, but you could do an Unforgiven expansion. You could, like, there's so many things like you could do where it's like people could create almost anything in that, and I hope they do. So even more so than anything, that game came out in 2009. I hope Rockstar listens up and releases a remaster of the original Red Dead on PC. I mean, that game would look fantastic on PC now. Just release the damn thing. But the possibilities for that are endless. And on top of the game being excellent, it released probably my favorite expansion that I've ever played in Undead Nightmare. Let me bite my tongue. The Witcher 3 had the best expansions I've ever played, like bar none. Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. Apologies to The Witcher 3. But this is right behind it. Undead Nightmare completely changed the way you play the game. And just the setting and the characters were so fun. And that was like 12 hours that was pure joy. So this year, 2017 was one of the best years of video games ever, maybe the best. When you really sit down and think of it, maybe the best. And I didn't even have a PlayStation 4. If I had a PlayStation 4, I'd have games like Persona 5 and Neo, and there's just so many this year that came out. It was like, I call it basically the year where it's an embarrassment of riches, right? You're just given everything, and there's simply not enough time. It was like that for me in like 2007, 2008 as well, where it was just so much. I think in 98 as well too. Gosh, so many good games. But for me right now, this year's looking fantastic. Final thing I want to talk about. Looking forward to this year. I'm going to try and do my best and stop just doing full playthroughs every night. I'm going to try and stick to the vision that I originally created, where Monday I will play a game, all like try and just stream consistently every night as much as I can when I can. But on Tuesdays, I'm really going to try and play something that's new going forward from here on out. Play something that was released in the last month or week or 2 weeks or whatever. That's relevant. Smaller games might get the by and by, but I'm going to look at new releases and see what's really coming out and if I'm interested in play it. So I will do my best to play that. I'm also going to do my best to play on the weekends more, to finish up those Monday games, do some marathon streams, play some Borderlands with my buddy. Do you know what I mean? Try and get, me and him are trying to work on stuff. His schedule's pretty busy right now, so we're going to try and play some multiplayer online co-op games together. I'm just going to try and create more content and see if anybody watches, see if you guys follow. I also wanted to end with I try and be as positive as possible and try and make this fun. After all, I'm not making any money off of this. I have no intention of doing this full time. I have a full-time job. I'm doing this for fun and to kind of cultivate a community. So I was listening to an album the other day, Sam's Town by The Killers, and it's an older album. I think it came out like 10 years ago, and shows my dated music taste, right? And there's 2 tracks on there, Interlude and Exitlude, and I thought it hit on the head, at least, what I'm trying to accomplish. It's funny, it's a little Mr. Rogers, but I'll do my best singing it. But here goes. It's, I hope you enjoyed your stay. It's good to have you with us, even if it's just for the day. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Outside the sun is shining. Seems like heaven ain't far away. So that's kind of like the thing I'm going for, is positivity. I hope you guys enjoy the content I'm putting out, and if you don't, I hope you get in contact with me and tell me what you like and dislike about it. I hope you come and watch this and get a little bit of knowledge and get a little more opinion. And yeah, I just want to, it's always more fun when I get people involved, and I hope that continues. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and catch you on the flip side. Hope you enjoyed your stay.